You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Gu, Senior Policy Advisor and Designee for NYES Chair Maria Torres Springer, First Deputy Mayor of New York City and Deputy Mayor for Housing and Economic Development. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation for today, Monday, February the 3rd, 2025. I'd like to note for the record that the public has been given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments at or before 5 p.m. Friday to nyezc@est.ny.gov. I'd like to further note for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I'd like to ask the directors whether anyone has a potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the agenda items. If so, I'd ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourselves from any discussion or vote regarding such item. Okay, hearing none, we will note it for the record. We will now consider initiatives of the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. The first item is a bridge loan downtown revitalization initiative to be presented by Michael Nixon. You may begin when you're ready.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a request for $600,000 for a bridge loan, which would be for funding for downtown revitalization initiative programs that were originally approved back in 2018. And because of COVID and other problems, there were significant delays in terms of the projects and a redirecting of the projects and so on. And there has been an agreement in terms of how those projects should go forward. And we're proposing that the $600,000 of Empowerment Zone funds will be used for those projects. Those projects include installation of street banners, installation of security cameras, installation of street lighting, and then a public art installation. And with regards to the street banners and all the other projects, that would include, in the case of street banners, design, determining where the banners will be posted throughout the area around the 149th Street corridor, in and around the 3rd Avenue bid. So street banners, security cameras where there would be a determination in terms of what the cameras were, what would be the most appropriate cameras based on quality and cost, helping to determine which merchants might get the cameras and providing them the information to move forward. Street lighting, to enhance street lighting along the corridor, and then then public art installation again along in and around the 149th Street corridor. The primary focus is to enhance public safety and security with these investments, and then also to increase the attractive nature of the corridor. And these were already approved by the state in the DRI back in 2018. The issue long has been that there isn't the money to be able to actually engage in the projects, which could then be reimbursed by the New York State Department of State. So this is a request for a zero interest loan at over a 5-year period so that these investments can be made along the corridor. So let me.
This is something, by the way, that has been initiated by the New York State Department of State to have money that was allocated to the Bronx to ensure that we could end up strengthening the 149th Street Business Improvement District. It was in, I would say, jeopardy of losing the money, and we raised our hand and said, we'll try to figure this thing out with you. And we stepped forward. I think this is obviously an important corridor for the Bronx. It's one of our busiest retail corridors. Unfortunately, it's been a corridor that's had some quality of life issues. That's an understatement. And we want to be good partners of helping the Department of State and also the local business improvement district.
That's right. And I'll just add, and then I'll step back and answer any questions that you may have. As we know, there have been a number of elected officials and others that have gone along the corridor, is quite distressed in many ways. We don't pretend that these investments alone will address those issues, but we do believe it will help improve things as part of a larger program. So with that, I will just stand back and answer any questions that may be asked.
Any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item, so I'll now entertain a motion for approval.
A motion.
Second?
Second, Rowena. Second.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Not you.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Great.
Thank you
so much.
That makes a heck of a difference. Appreciate it. We'll have some smiling faces on 149th Street today.
All right, Michael, please present the next and last item, the Hip Hop Museum.
Yes. This is a proposal for a loan of $250,000 for pre-construction related items as it relates to the Hip Hop Museum, which is proposed for the area around 150th Street and Exeter Avenue in the Empowerment Zone. The museum is a part of a larger project known as Bronx Point. Bronx Point would include both the Hip Hop Museum, but also a 432 unit housing development, retail space, and community space. This has been a project that's been on the drawing board for a long time, and there's been strong interest from a lot of stakeholders in the Bronx, the greater Bronx community that would like to see this happen. Similarly, though, there is a need to do pre-construction work and funding before anything can be done, and there's a need to have the money spent and then reimbursed, in this case, by Empire State Development before anything can move forward. So this is a proposal. BXEDC would be a secondary lender. Primary lender would be Ponce Bank. Secondary lender would on these pre-construction loans would be BXEDC. The proposal requests $250,000 so that we can make a loan of 5% interest with a term of 6 months. We've been assured that much of the work that would be done would take between 45 and 90 days. So we want to just be able to provide the money up front so that this pre-construction design and project management can be done to move this project forward. So we all recognize this is very important for the community, not just in terms of the museum, but also the larger Bronx Point project. So I'll just stand back and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions or comments from directors?
I just have one comment. I'm not clear because you're saying you're reimbursed by ESD. How does that work?
Well, what will happen is this, we directly won't be reimbursed by ESD, but the museum will be, the foundation for the museum. So we would provide the funding for the pre-construction, product management and design management. The work would get done, it would be documented in every way, shape, or form. The museum would get reimbursed, and then they in turn would pay us back.
Okay. Great. I have no more questions.
Okay, any questions or comments from the public? I will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion?
Second,
That's motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The Hip Hop Museum has been approved. Is there any other business?
Yes. BXEDC, as part of new business, would like to request that we no longer need to go to the New York Empowerment Zone Board for funding requests because the funds that are currently available are monies that have already been lent out and paid back over the years. And we believe, given that all of the monies have been lent out and then the current balance of funds is from repayments, that we would like to move forward without having to go through the Empowerment Zone Board for approvals.
Right. So that's something you probably can't take up today. I think we all understood that process is being reviewed right now. There is an MOU in place. We'll look at the MOU, and we will get back to you relatively in a short period of time to make the final determination.
Okay. Just put it on we love you guys, we also know you're busy.
Great.
We appreciate all the support you provided.
Great.
Great. If nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you for all your help on this. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you
very
much.
Thank you so much for everything. Really appreciate it and look forward to following up on this issue that we just raised.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr.